Hey everybody, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. So here I am back for my second currently inked video for the month of, it's March, right? March. Anyway, these are the pens that I have currently inked for this month. So I'll talk them through after, but you can see that it's definitely different to what I had last month. I really do want to work on trying to do a proper rotation of all my pens and inks so that I am using everything that I purchased, because I would just feel really foolish if I bought a whole ton of stuff and didn't actually use it. But anyway, so we'll get into that. But first, I want to show basically the inks that I had from last month. So I'll zoom in and just kind of talk a little bit about the inks from last month. So the one surprise for me from last month was the Cross Botanica Green Daylily. I actually really enjoyed this pen and ink combination. Normally I'm not a big fan of J. Herbin inks because they can be dry, but with this pen it was an amazing combination. It was wet, it showed proper shading. It was actually it was the favorite combination of February. The next one was my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Dragon Palace with Sailor Ink Studio 123. And this was actually a fun one to use because it turns out gray here, but when I used it in my Hobonichi with the Tomoe River paper, you get the different shading, and I really like that. And it kind of looks blue, it kind of looks gray. I really enjoyed it. So far, though, the Cross Botanica Green Daily with the J. Herbin was my favorite. Second, right behind that was this is not a 1911, it was my Sailor Pro Gear with the Sailor Manyo Kuzu. And I loved this combination so much that I ended up buying a bottle of the Sailor Manyo Kuzu. Just the ink flow was lovely in it. Like, it wasn't dry, it was a very good ink flow. And the color of this ink, you can't really see it here, but there's a little bit of green or gold sheen. And it was just one of my favorites. Like, I didn't think these two would be my favorites, but they were. And then every month, you guys know that my Pilotkakuno in the extra fine will always be inked with either Noodler's Borealis Black or Noodler's Lexington Gray, because I just need something with a basic black and a very fine line. And you know what? This is like my go-to. It's never going to be like my top favorite, but it is a very good basic fountain pen to have. And it also goes with my principle of I really need to use my inks that I've purchased. And the Borealis Black was the first bottled ink that I purchased, and it was a little bit of a regret purchase, but now that I found a good pen for it, I'll be able to use it. And then lastly, for my journal, my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal, I used the Pilot Vanishing Point with the Pilot Iroshizuku Tsutsuji. Gorgeous. I love Pilot inks. Love Pilot inks with the Pilot pens. Have no complaints about that whatsoever. Great flow, and it's just a really cute pink color. But my two favorites from February were Cross Botanica Green Daylily and my Sailor Pro Gear with Sailor Manyo Kuzu. So let's flip the page here. Oh, that was from my Esterbrook testing, if you guys didn't see. So I'm going to zoom out again. So give you guys an idea here of what I am using this month for inks. So I'm going to be using Colorverse CMA. I don't know if I'm saying that at all correctly, but I purchased samples of these from Goulet Pens and loved the blue color. Loved the blue color. And actually, I'll show you the inspiration for the colors that I chose this month. It was actually from a sticker sheet from According to Allie, and I chose colors that all fit with this happy birthday sticker sheet because March is my birthday month. So you will notice that a lot of the colors that are in this sticker sheet relate to the colors that I chose. So let's put this to the side here so you guys can see my choices here. So CMA goes with the blue. I have the Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho, which is, I didn't expect this to be a favorite, but I love this color, and it goes in with kind of the yellowish mustard brown here. The next one, it doesn't necessarily go with anything in here, but the Sailor Manyo Nekoyanagi, I just wanted to try out. It's like blue, purple. I'm sure that I will find ways to use it in either my journaling or in my planner spreads. And then Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji, which is a more like reddish pink versus the Tsutsuji, which was a different pink, and you put them side by side and they actually do look different. So I mean, if I show you the difference between Momiji and Tsutsuji. You can tell Momiji is a little bit more red, whereas Tsutsuji is leaning more towards the pink. And then lastly, this one is going to be what I'm going to be using in my 5-year journal for the month of March, Sailor Ink Studio 162. So let's go ahead and do the ink swatches with the pens. So the notebook that I am using is actually my A6 Mentori. I've got my little I Love Pen sticker here from Coffee Monsters Co. And I've got my pencil board in the back here with a bit of a template so that it's easier for me to follow and also evenly space everything out. So the first one I'm going to do is my Pilotkakuno. And I know that this is the same one that I used last month, but I still like to be able to keep track of all of the pens I used and all of the inks I used. Doesn't normally run dry, so I had to prime the feed a little bit, but it could also be this paper. So the Noodler's Borealis black is a great basic black for me, and I like it in my extra fine pen because in any other pen and any other type of paper, it's such a wet ink, and I feel like it feathers in any other type of pen that I use, and it makes the line really wide, but in this it's just the perfect line width that I need for black. The next pen that I have is my newest pen. It is my Ernest Brooks Jr. Pocket Fountain Pen in Fantasia. I almost said Euphoria, that's something different, but in Fantasia. And this is inked with the Colorverse CMA. And this has an extra fine nib. So this pen is still quite new to me, so I'm still kind of working out the, I guess not the kinks, but trying to really break it in the gentlest sense of the word. I love the look of this pen. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm still getting used to the nib itself, but so far I think I'm going to like being able to use this pen. So the next one on the list is my Twisty Eco. I had this inked up in January with Pilot Iroshizuku Shinkai, and it was the ink that I used in my journal, my 5-year journal, for all of January. And I really liked the combination of a Pilot Iroshizuku ink with this pen, so I'm looking forward to being able to use this. But look at how that ink looks in this pen. I didn't fill it all the way up because I didn't need that much ink, but I love the way that it looks. It comes out so nice and wet. I love it. But I really, the relationship that I currently have with my Twisty Eco tea, I think is similar to the relationship that I'm going to have with my Ernest Brooks Jr. I did not like the nib. I thought it was really scratchy, but after working with the tines and with some micro mesh, it is exactly where I have it. But also the ink makes such a huge difference. I loved using my Eco tea with the Pilot Iroshizuku Shinkai, and I think it'll be great with Inaho or Inaho, however you say that. The next one is also a new pen that I impulsively bought back in January because it was on sale. I mean, I didn't necessarily have it on my list, but it was something that I was eyeing. This is the Lamy All-Star in Cosmic. It was their limited edition from 2021, and I love it because in some light it looks rose gold and other light looks like a champagne color, but I got this in an extra fine. And I almost wish I got it in a fine to have a different nib from my Lamy Vista. But I did purchase another nib from Pen Chalet, and that should be arriving soon. Look at the shading already. This is with Sailor, oh my gosh, what is that? Sailor Manyo Nekoyanagi. But look at that so far. Beautiful. So this ink may not be for everybody. It is quite a light ink, but I love the shading of a lot of the Sailor Manyo inks. I love the shading of all the Sailor inks. But I think, in an extra fine nib and in a Lamy All-Star, it's actually not too bad. And I think this, for me, if I was going to keep using these particular inks, I'm going to use them in extra fines in like Western nibs versus just using fine nibs in the Japanese, or the fine Japanese pens. But so far I like this, and I think in the future I would put this in a slightly larger nib, like a fine in the Western nibs, or even a medium in the Japanese nibs. But I am excited to use this pretty pen, and it is just as smooth as my Lamy Vista, which I absolutely love. Then next, you guys have seen this before. This is my first gold nib pen, and I love it. This is my Pilot Vanishing Point Desmo in Champagne, and I have this in a fine nib, and it is currently inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji. I love how wet the Pilot inks are. Beautiful, beautiful combination. I just love all of my Pilot Iroshizuku inks. I think they've got a great level of wetness. They're not like, bursting onto the paper. They're just a really well behaved ink, and I'm really excited to be able to use this in March. Oh, I just love my Pilot pens, and I love my Pilot inks. Now, saying that, yes, I did use my Sailor Pro Gear Dragon Palace, Sailor Pro Gear Slim Dragon Palace in February. But I wanted to really get a good rotation of all my pens, even the ones that I'm using in my 5-year journal. So this is the pen that will be used for my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal for the month of March. And it is currently inked up with Sailor Ink Studio 162. Beautiful. I chose this color because green is my favorite color, but also I wanted to try and pair a Sailor pen with a Sailor ink and just test it out in my 5-year journal. I believe this pen was actually my second gold nib pen that I ever purchased. And it is definitely different from the Pilot Vanishing Point gold nib, but I still absolutely love it. And I do love just the shading in that green. I don't know if it's like, it's not a forest green or anything like that, and I don't want to necessarily classify it as a teal, but you can see the blue, shades of blue in that ink, and I absolutely love it. So just a quick close-up now of everything that I've inked. All right, so there are all of my currently inked pens for the month of March. I'm really looking forward to just trying these all out and seeing what works for me, what pen and ink combinations I really enjoy. But also now I think I'm getting into a system where I'm definitely working on rotating what inks I use, what pens I use, so that everything is getting a fair share in terms of how I'm using it, because it feels pointless to have pens in my collection if I'm not using them. So I do want to make sure I'm doing that evenly and properly. All right, so thanks again guys for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a great day.